best time to just go kid at Christmas. Alright, and you know me already, I always review my packaging and it looks pristine. It's pretty simple, sleek. I hope that it does come in this color that is being shown here on the box. Pretty elegant, as it says here with the Sejoy branding at the top. It just says strong shaver, which we will definitely judge that. It is a 5-in-1 grooming kit, so I'm assuming that it has 5 different feature heads on there. These 7 blades in there actually looks a little intimidating, but it does actually look like that it will contour around the head and give you a shave area that should speed up your shave. You're hitting the same spots and getting it cleaner, faster. The name is a bit much to get out, the bald man's best friend. So I'm gonna get acquainted with this, as you can tell. The Sejoy men's ball head shaver. This is a 7D, not 3, not 5, but 7D floating head 5-in-1 electric shaver. It leaves nothing up to the imagination. It tells you everything it's got going on. So I'm excited to open this up and see what this has got going on. And so far on packaging, I like that it seems to explain everything. This 5-in-1 shaver grooming kit is going to be coming with a facial cleaning brush, a sideburns knife. You can see it's kind of like a trimmer, that's what they're referring to. It has a nose and ears trimmer, and then a soft facial cleansing brush. I'm interested in those two things, the facial cleaning brush and the facial sponge, because cleansing before and after is very underrated. And then of course the 5th attachment is the main head, the one with the 7 blades on it that contours around the chins, the cheeks, those kind of areas that are gonna have different contours and not have the same exact surface area on every man. So this is gonna be very interesting to see. Let's get into the box. And right away I do see the USB charger. What I do like with that is it is universal, so it's not gonna be something that is proprietary only to this one thing. So this should be for, as they refer to it, the sideburns knife. And it's good to see that they have some different levels. So I'm not sure if you guys are gonna actually see this. They are numbered right here, which I do appreciate. It looks like they went with 3, 5, and 7, which gives you some variation. And of course, the brush to be able to clean this up. Here comes the main event. So the instructions, and like any respectable man, I will not be reading them right now until we run into problems at least. I do realize as I do more and more of these reviews that it is important to go through these, because while I like to explore these things and just kind of figure them out as you go, if you're not that type of person or you do run into a problem, you do want to make sure that they do explain. And what I've been running into of late is these things, and it's not a particular brand. They are very short sometimes and they don't explain enough. So I will definitely take a quick look, and you guys don't have to wait on that. This is the sideburns knife. It does feel sturdy, I gotta say. I feel a nice weight to it. It doesn't feel overly heavy. This I'm actually impressed by, because I've gotten this in a couple of different sets before. This is the nose and ear trimmer piece, which is pretty standard if you've ever seen one. What I'm impressed by is the quality of the cover. This thing is going into a very sensitive area. Definitely clean this before and after use, but when you put it up, you definitely want something this solid. I've gotten previous trimmers before and gotten the main blade with absolutely no cover. So for them to put such a solid cover on this, which is just like a side feature, is impressive. The next one is the cleaning brush. It looks like it's an attachment that's going to go into it, so it's not just a still brush that you're going to have to work. It looks like it'll actually work with the motor, so this is going to be interesting. And again, a very good quality hard case cover. Not the most simple thing. You might have to try a couple of times to get it snapped into place, but again, I appreciate that it does have that. It does have, I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up, some holes here, which you might think would defeat the purpose, but for it to be able to breathe, and that if it is wet or damp in any which way, it'll be able to dry. So I'm actually impressed. It looks like a lot of thought went into this thing. Now, what I will say that I noticed, which might work to your advantage, is that all of the features work directly with the motorized main piece. There's nothing that is a manual. I thought that maybe one of the two brushes were just gonna be like a manual brush, but here's the soft face sponge. You do really feel that soft silicone bristle. Definitely feels like something that not only would feel good after a shave, but definitely will do what it's supposed to do. Make sure it gets a good scrub in there. And wow, here we go. This is what I find impressive. So the color does match, and look at the size of this thing. Now again, this is about the size of my palm. I wear about a size medium glove, if that means anything to you. Now, as I said before I unboxed it, what I noticed when they said the LED display, it showed on the packaging here. I haven't turned it on yet, but I will be impressed if an LED light comes up there that is very clear, because you can't tell if this is a screen versus here. It's very seamless. So this is gonna be the first time I'm turning on the device, and that is mint. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this or it's gonna do you justice. The display comes up. There is a little blue LED light on the back, but this shows the strength. And you can hear me turning it up and turning it back down, and the battery life. So what I like about this display is this display not only tells you exactly how much battery power you have, but as I was reading, it says that you get about 1% per minute. So that's about 100 minutes. A full shave is not gonna take you anywhere near to that time frame. And you can kind of gauge where you are in your shave and kind of know, okay, I'm at 65%. I got about 60 minutes left in this thing. Now, it does promise a very fast charge. It does not have a stand, but because what I realized is the way that this is, especially with the main head still attached to it, you're probably better off with this in a lying down position. And because this is a universal plug, unless you're an iPhone user, I'm sorry, I kind of get bothered when companies use proprietary cords, because if anything happens to the cord that comes in the box, you're kind of out of gas. One thing I did notice, this is a very small detail, but this is backward from what you would normally see in North America and the Americas and stuff. Normally read from left to right. It actually has the plus side on the left side and the minus on the right. They are tactile buttons and they have a little raise on them that you can actually see, but that's just a little bit different to what you're used to. That LED display is mint, I got to say. Again, blue light on the back, more just for aesthetic. The weight on this too is pretty impressive because it doesn't feel lightweight and cheap, but it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like something you're gonna fatigue holding in your hand. It looks like you could get a couple different grips on this thing, and I am severely left-handed, but as I switch it to my right hand, I can feel that the grip in either hand feels pretty smooth and feels pretty much like something that is gonna feel pretty good to use. So I'm excited to use this thing. It seems to be promising a lot. And again, small detail, but the fact that it comes with its own cover is a lot of points because I've seen some big, huge brands just miss the mark with that. So the only thing that didn't come with a case or covering, looks like, is the sideburns knife and the soft sponge for the face. Again, just to kind of show you what comes up on the screen is going to be the RPMs and the battery percentage. And this came with a pretty full charge, so I don't have to go ahead and charge, which I like. You also have control of the RPMs in case you want to take it down a bit. And you can feel and hear the difference here. Now, what I have to say is, even though you hear the power in it, it's not overly loud. As far as like noise pollution, you're not gonna be disturbing anybody in the next room if you have this thing going in the bathroom. All right, so I showed you everything that comes in a package. I even showed you this thing turned on. Now it's time to use this thing. From my experience, for best results, use this as a finisher. Trim down the hair and then do a shave and then use this to finish off and get that perfectly smooth area. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it'll do in the neck. For testing this thing's purposes, I'm going to do this side of my face and this side of my head just to see the before. As you can see, nothing to write home about, and I'm excited about this one. I mean, we're getting noticed out here, you know, like this is the first company to bless me with sending out their product. Now to put this through its paces, like I said, I would never ever really use this like this, but I just want to see what kind of power we get. I am just going to test a small area just to see how well it will do as a dry shave. And I got to say, I'm impressed. I didn't feel any scratching, I didn't feel any pulling, and just the speed at which I got to this. Now, I am a perfectionist, so probably, you know, I'd want to do a whole full lather up and fix blade and then finish with this, but this is impressive, and this is a good alternative for someone who can't use a fixed blade, who gets razor irritation from something like this. Because I mean, look at how smooth I've gotten this. This is very impressive, and I don't even have it on the max power. But what I'm most impressed by as I'm doing this, as I said, it's not my intention to use it this way. It's because it's covering so much surface area all at once. I'm not only getting a smooth shave, but I'm doing it in fairly quick time. You can see why at 100% you'd get a couple shaves out of this thing, because look at that. Now I know I have my thinning here, so obviously I am also cheating with having not much to work with here. Again, low me. As you can see in my darker areas where I still have full hair growth, this has done a very impressive job there. That took a few seconds, and it is close to perfection. I can see why they are such sticklers for referring to this thing as the bald man's best friend. Just looking at here, this is it. This is where we were. And this is what I was able to achieve in literally seconds. Just to show you guys how this comes apart here. It is magnetic. I like that because it is dummy proof. You don't have to line them up to a specific one. You can turn them as you feel fit. They kind of snap back into place. You can tell when it's in place here. There is a very tight grip to that, but it's very easy when you're ready to get it apart. For cleaning purposes, to get into all 7 heads, I'm going to try the other detachments briefly before finishing up my shave and tell you what my final decision is on this. Now, detaching the main head, don't fiddle with twisting it. You're just gonna pop it straight off, and you'll see the connections on the other ones kind of give you hints on how it goes on. This one surprisingly snaps on pretty stern. I am impressed. I am going to try it out and see what it does. For this, I'll probably turn it up a bit. Again, very, very smooth. Considering that this is just kind of a side feature, one of the things I gotta say I'm impressed by is just how sturdy that feels like it snaps on. When it's snapped in there, it is snapped in there and it stays in place. It does take some getting used to on how exactly to hold this. But using this here, I mean, you can see how clean I'm able to get that. I am going to try to do a little bit of a line up here. And it's very quiet. I haven't gotten any hair pulls, any tugs, any nicks. This is definitely covering all in one territory. I am just impressed at how well that snaps in there. That snaps into place perfectly. Right now, I am using a 3mm. I do like how they have it easily marked down here. Turn it up a bit. Still pretty quiet. Right now I can pretty much only use a 0, which would be just the raw blade, or the 1 or 3, and really get to see what the subtle difference is. Typically you're only gonna find your 3mm, your 5, and your 7mm. In kits like this, This gives an option to a lot of my viewers that have been asking for an alternative to a wet shave with a fixed blade. I really am impressed at what I am able to do with this. Another really good versatile use of this would be the maintenance shave that you don't want to actually use a fixed blade for. Using a fixed blade too often can lead to irritation, so if you just need to clean up in between, you're trying to rest the area and give it a little break from your fixed blade, this is a good option. Real quick, let's get the use of the nose and ear trimmer out of the way. As you get older, you'll probably have to use this more. This is going to be very important to keep clean. I do get some tugs from these sometimes, so I'm going to see if there's any difference here. Another feature that I notice I appreciate about this is after each run of this, it resets itself to the lower end. So as I turn it off here, I'm going to turn it up to a higher speed, turn it off, and it resets at 65. So as you change heads and you turn it off, you never have to worry about remembering what speed it was on. It is clearly displayed for you to be able to see. No flybys and absolutely no tugging. It's always a weird sensation to actually trim your nose hairs, but when you do with devices like this, sometimes you get the irritation of tugging. I did not get that. This was quick. Hair in your nose serves a purpose, so don't try to go giving yourself a baldy in the nostrils. This is really for the nose mustache where it's coming out and it kind of becomes distracting. This is definitely going to work for that. It did exactly what it was advertised to do, but impressed nonetheless. None of the little extra features so far have been kind of gimmicky or just been like, I won't be using them. I was actually a little worried when I got this sent to me that you guys were gonna think, oh, he's trying to be flattering because he got it sent to him. But all of this has been a pretty smooth review for me because what I'm saying is how I actually feel about it. And if you want to try it out for yourself, or you are sold on my opinions, you want to go ahead and get this, below will be a promo code that will give you a certain percentage off. And of course, if you use the promo code below, it does support the channel, so you know that's a win-win for us here at Cutting Up. I'm gonna actually use it to build my lather. Now I still like to be able to use it in a fixed brush. All things even, I am using one of my favorite shaving creams. And again, this is really intended for the face, but I shaved the head, so I'm really going to put this through its paces here. Now, as a traditionalist, you know, I can nitpick and say, I really rather build this myself, but I am getting a pretty decent lather. And considering that I'm using less shaving cream than I usually use, this is quite impressive. I still will probably be an old head and a traditionalist. I want to build my lather the other way. But again, this is pretty impressive. I still have it on the lower setting. The high setting is not splashing anything anywhere. I would turn it up a little bit. It seems to be performing a little better. Now, even if you don't use this to build your lather for your fixed blade, I would still probably even ever so often come in and give your face a scrub with this. Give the bristles up a little quick back and forth. That cleaned up pretty well. The only thing I haven't used yet is the silicone facial scrub. I'm probably going to use that for my after wash, which is important after you shave. Before and after, clean the area. Quick pop off this. A quick tip is when you're putting these covers back on, have it in the device. Find it easier to do on the device and then pop off the head. Now this is how I actually intend to use this. Now that the area is still kind of damp and moist, add a little, maybe like a little aftershave oil. Oh yeah. very smooth. A face scrub. Just a couple of passes on the lowest setting, besides the massaging factor of this, it is doing a pretty decent job of building a lather. Even without a brush, and I would scrub this with a brush, the silicone's pretty easy to get clean here. Let me just give my face a quick rinse. And I think I've seen enough for me to give you guys a review, so let's get down into it. So what's my final analysis? Does this make the cut? Sejoy, I got to say they are delivering on their promise. This is definitely worth a buy for me. This does make the cut. I would say that all the 5 different features I've used, they are functional and none of them are gimmicky. None of them are something that they kind of just put in there that just kind of feels low grade or low quality. Even the sideburn knife, which immediately when I opened up, I was like, yeah, I'm probably never going to use this thing. In a pinch, I am pretty confident we'll get a desired look. Or if I'm just feeling lazy and I can't bother to go get out my electric shaver and change the heads on that, or get out my shears, I know that I can probably get away with using that. The actual 7D floating head does contour. You can see that if it was to go on the face or on different areas there, it does cover an impressive amount of space, which is going to shorten your time on your shave. And nowhere on none of the devices that I've used, whether it was a nose hair trimmer, whether it was the sideburns knife or the main 7D head, did I feel any nipping or tucking at hairs, even when I did what you're not supposed to do, which is a dry shave. I gotta say, I am impressed. I like the LED screen on the front. I like how seamless it is when it's off. I did my entire half and I'm at 93% right now. And I've turned up the thing a couple of times, so you can see on one charge you're going to definitely get a couple of shaves well through this thing, as well as you always know exactly where you stand with the battery life. And from what it says, it's percentage per minute, so you do the math on how many times you would shave before you need to charge this thing, and it charges to full charge in only an hour and a half. This is a buy. This is a buy for me, but don't just take my word for it. Try it out yourself. And because the people at Sejoy were so good with sending this out to me, I want to go ahead and do something for all my viewers that have been rocking with me since the beginning. I definitely want to pass on these savings, so go ahead and use the promo code wherever it is below here and get an additional 20% off. 20% off, in addition to any other deals you might find on the website. Go ahead and use that promo code. It not only shows support for the channel, but also will save you 20%. Check this out for yourself. See if it makes the cut for you as it made the cut for me. So until the next time we're cutting up, stay sharp, and we out.